We'll open this meeting of the Sheffield Selectboard. Thank CTSB for their great job in covering our meetings. We'll move on to item 1, approval of meeting minutes. Here I go again.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from January 2nd, 2024 for 2 sets, January 10th, January 11th, January 16th, 2 sets.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is a public hearing from National Grid utility pole installation on Line Hill Road.
Do you want to wait a little bit and see if someone comes and come back to this one?
We can do that.
Just in case.
Okay, so we'll set that aside for now. Okay. Discussion action regarding autism awareness walk.
So we were supposed to have someone here who was going to tell you more about the Autism Awareness Walk. I don't know why she didn't come, but they're planning on holding the walk on Cobble Lane in Sheffield again on April 28th from 11 to 1. So she is asking if there's anything the town needs for information on this. They had about 50 people show up last year.
Okay.
Do we give permission on this, or do we have really, unless there's some police presence required or such, I keep forgetting what our input is on this.
So we've never been asked for input on this particular walk. And it's on Cobble Lane, which is not a very heavily traveled road.
4 houses.
So it's more just information.
Yeah, I would say we don't need to take any action.
It is nice to be notified though.
It is.
Yeah, because there'll be a bunch of people down there.
Right.
I'll just let the Chief Munson know what's going on.
Excellent. Okay. We have an appointment for the Cultural Council.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Wanda Houston to the Cultural Council for a 3-year term.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Renee's discussion and possible action regarding electric vehicle charging station proposal.
Okay, so you have in your packet, and Pat is here, and I both met with this gentleman who's been a real delight to work with. And you have the proposals in your packet that talk about the cost of this. It's a really good letter of intent as opposed to the last one we had, which I was really kind of uncomfortable with. However, there's an extreme variation in the pricing between these 2 bids. And I also realize that even though this is both a federal kick-in and a state kick-in, or excuse me, I should say a National Grid gives some money and the state gives some money, I don't know, since this is probably going to require some money, whether we now need to have 3 bids, because the last one was going to be free, but there was convoluted language that we would have to sign. This one, you can see that there is a charge for each location, and there is a charge that runs from the mid-40s to the 70s for the 1 charge unit versus a 2 charge unit. So I'm feeling the need, and we just got this earlier this week. I'm feeling the need to find another vendor and get that 3rd quote and see, and then try to figure out what's going on with the money. These 2 proposals are so drastic from each other. I was not happy with the first one, but I'm just, given the cost implications, I'm just not sure that I don't need a 3rd one to try and set a middle point So I wanted to bring you up to date on this. Rhonda, do you have any sense of whether we would need, 3 vendors?
Well, like you said, the price varies, is very drastic, so it probably wouldn't hurt to get a third
Okay.
one, and then we've done our,
Okay. And then I think once we have that 3rd vendor, then we can sit down and figure out what the heck is going on, because it is so drastic.
Yeah, it's a little bit more money than I
You and
would.
I hadn't had a chance to talk about that, but when I sat down, and I know you didn't see the first quote, they were basically doing everything for free, but it was an extremely onerous contract. This is a letter of intent, which we got him to remove all money, all obligations, other than to just proceed in good faith. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so we'll bring this back, but I wanted to keep you updated. Does anybody have any questions or any comments?
Nope. No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, item number 7, discussion possible action regarding updating the master plan.
Wasn't there 6 spot?
Oh,
We're
it's
skipping
6
skip.
is being skipped. Skipped.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's okay. So we're to the master plan.
I don't know where this came from, it's not mine.
It's not mine either.
It's not mine.
so I guess we'll put that on a different.
We don't want to know how that got there.
Well, I know that there was conversation that one of the things the DLTA grant could be used for was to update a master plan. But I didn't hear anybody put their hand up to lead that effort or anything, so.
No. Okay, well, that shortens up the agenda a little, so. Discussion possible action regarding Community Preservation Act.
Okay, so I know everybody's got so much paperwork on the Community Preservation Act, but if you need just a piece of paper for tonight's discussion, let me
Pretty
just,
good.
pass that out. I wanted to get one to Rhonda and one to Joe. Where we last left this at the last meeting was I was to find out what the implication was for the town assessor and how this thing kind of works. I've talked with Tammy. She is asked every year when they do the taxes, are you a community preservation community? And she says no, and they proceed. She has no reason not to believe that this is not built into the software that she uses. I've talked with a couple of the other communities, and it appears to be so straightforward after the first year of learning that they had a hard time discussing the procedure with me because it's one of those checkpoints on the software that's built in where you indicate that you are a Community Preservation Act community, what your percent is, and after you do it the first year, it goes forward. You have to put in your tax rate and the rest of it. So the conversation with her was a very good conversation. I didn't hear well, I've heard this is horrible, or, and then talking with the other town assessors who are on the CPA, it didn't sound like there was anything other than kind of business as usual. So I think we come down to the point, unless there's other things you want me to investigate, is the question of, are we going to put this on the warrant in May for the voters to decide if it goes on to the ballot for the November election, as it must be on the ballot and pass to be instituted, which that would mean, and I've written a couple of sample warrant articles that are straight out of the Community Preservation Coalition guidance, and of course would have to be subject to legal counsel. There is the issue of what would be the percent, and if it were to, first item were to pass, what if any exemptions the board would want to put onto the warrant. In other words, we talked about the straight 100%, $100,000 exemption for commercial and residential properties. We've also talked about an exemption for those who would qualify for low-income housing or low and moderate income for seniors. So I'm just kind of at that point that I wanted to see if we can move forward with this. Otherwise, what else do I need to bring to the board for their discussion? And I also, on the back page, we've seen this before, but I also did the assessed value of the property tax, for 83 and 84, what it would turn out to be. And then, you do go into a second round of funding if you do the 3%, and that funding is based on how you rank with other municipalities, and we would rank, our current ranking is number 5, which means that we would qualify for 100% additional, but I truly do not know how that works. The lowest economically viable communities qualify for 140% match, and then there's many communities that are too rich to really get any additional match in that third round. But I think 3% is a stretch. And, so I kind of highlighted the 1.5 and 2%, and you can just see the difference between the two. This has no exemptions applied. So if you wanted to apply the across the board 100,000, if you have a 200,000 example, just move to the 100,000, and again, if you were subject to the other exemptions for the senior exemption, low income, or the low to moderate income, the other ones, then you have to apply for it, and that is an extra step, because just like the veterans exemption and other exemptions that our town allows, you do have to enter that into the system. Mm-hmm. But again, Tammy, we had a really nice conversation today on this. So.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start. Right off the bat, it comes down for me, I don't like additional taxation.
That's okay.
I think we get taxed hard enough as it is, so that starts the problem. From there, the complication of adding more work, the limitations on how it can be spent, when it can be spent, and adding another commission or board to handle it. I just don't feel comfortable, and it's not something that I would move forward.
But there's 2 questions here, Bob. Mm-hmm. You've stated your personal opinion.
Correct.
On how you would vote. What I continue to ask for is not for us to endorse this, but for us to give the right to the voters to decide this matter. That's all I'm interested in doing, is giving the right to the voters. We can all vote no. Mm-hmm. All right, but I have seen the amount of money that other communities are collecting, and I am always looking for income streams where we can get more than 1-to-1. And this is one of the few. So again, I'm not asking you how to vote yes. I'm asking you and Nadine to give the voters the right to vote on this and decide what they as taxpayers want to do.
Well, I'd feel more comfortable if we were getting more than 100 people at an annual town meeting to vote on these things. And I have turned this down before, and my position is
I haven't asked you before, have I?
I think this came up last year or a year before.
That was the community pressure, the electrical green communities.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, for me, I don't like it.
You don't want to give the voters the right to.
I don't think it's worth passing forward.
Nadine, how are you?
So are you looking for us, if I was to be in favor of bringing this to the voters, if I were in favor of bringing this to the voters, are you looking for us to decide what percentage is going to
Yes.
be put in and what exemptions are going to
Yes.
be put in? Okay. So I agree with Bob in that I am not in favor of this personally. And I feel that the number of people that come to town meeting is not fully representative of those who struggle with the amount of taxes that they have to pay. But I think we probably should put it before the voters. I think that it's prudent to put it before the voters because we do have the housing production plan, which requires us to think about bringing in some sort of affordable housing. And this is a resource for helping to access that, the state funds for that, as well as for maintaining our historical buildings. And we sure have a few of them that we own here. And if we could have covered the cost of the roof at the police department with any part of that, I would feel that we've done our job to access some state monies to help us out. So I would be willing to support this going to the voters with the 1% assessment and with every possible exemption that we can offer to our taxpayers. Because I want everyone to have the opportunity to get as much off of this as they can, should they need it.
Okay, so I will make a motion that we have on the Maytown warrant 2 warrant articles regarding the CPA. And again, this all has to go through legal. The first one would be that the amount of the surcharge on real property shall be 1%. That's the first warrant article. The second warrant article, if the first one were to pass, would be that we have 3 exemptions. The first exemption is property owned and occupied as a domicile by any person who qualifies for low-income housing or low or moderate income senior housing in the town as defined under the Community Preservation Act legislation. The second exemption would be a $100,000 exemption of the assessed value of each taxable parcel of residential real property. And the third exemption would be $100,000 of the assessed value of each taxable parcel of Class 3 commercial property and Class 4 industrial property as allowed under the legislation.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Thank you. I'll get this to you, Rhonda. Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on. Discussion possible action regarding zoning bylaw amendment to planning board setbacks in general business districts.
So this is something that we have met with the planning board on, and I just kind of wanted to, and I think if I remember correctly that we were all in favor of, I wanted to kind of officially bring it up. And basically what this would do is change the minimum front setback and rear and side setbacks on property in the general business district to make it so that they would be less but more than in any other district. And the purpose for this is to create more usage of existing lots in the general business district, which have to be 4 acres. But as we have found out in a number of situations, with the required minimum setbacks, you really take that 4 acres and you cut it down to about 2.5 acres, which greatly reduces the usage of any land in the general business district. And also, I think it really is not consistent with what this town is trying to do to encourage housing. So I would like to make a motion that we officially send this to the planning board with the request that they hold the required public hearing and that it be put on the ballot either at the first special town meeting or at the annual town meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? I would just like to add that the setbacks for general business were considerably large. 100 feet on the front, 75 feet front and back, and sides. It is kind of extreme. I'm not sure what the planners at that time were considering, but the proposal is to reduce it, the thought is anyway, to 50 feet and 35 feet on the sides and rear. So it's still a considerable setback, the largest that there would be for any zoning district, but not to the extent that it takes out so much acreage that it seems to be counterproductive. So that's all I have to say.
If I could just add, Bob,
Yes.
because I used to, when I was on the planning board, have wonderful discussions with John Downey and David West and Doc Norris, who were on that group that put forward the first zoning bylaws that were passed in town. And at that time, you know, the commercial district is intended to be used for commercial activities. Makes sense. The general business district was envisioned as being used for light manufacturing and agricultural purposes. The rage at that time was this idea that everyone was going to get light manufacturing, which at one time we had in our business park. And now I don't think there's any light manufacturing left. I don't know, you know, with the absence of custom extrusion, I'm not really sure how much light manufacturing there is anywhere. It's something whose time has come and left. So I think this is also consistent with realizing that what was good in 1994 or 6 has changed.
Doesn't fit anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Renee, for putting that together.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion action regarding policy on written, electronic, and verbal communications with the commission, committee, council, trustee, or board member.
So I don't expect any action on this tonight. I wanted to bring this before the board because we have had situations, not just at the Conservation Commission, but I also understand at least one other board, where people are writing to board members at their home addresses, not bringing up matters in effect at the board meetings, but sending them to their home addresses and then expecting some sort of response. I had asked Rhonda to allow me to talk to our legal counsel about that, and that is the memo that you see from legal that discusses this and says that basically it's legal unless the town adopts a policy that says, in effect, that all matters of this nature need to and will be handled at the board or commission, et cetera, you know, trustees, et cetera. I tried to get everybody in there, where the matter is being discussed. And so Rhonda and I have talked about this, and I decided I would try to write a policy that would keep volunteer and elected members from receiving town business mail at their own homes, and to bring it before the commission where it would be subject to the open meeting law and the fair discussion that all of these communications should be. It is not meant to keep someone from a verbal conversation on something, but it's also meant to, let me rephrase that, a verbal conversation that deals with administrative matter. But it is also meant to try and keep board members from being put frequently in the awkward spot of having someone hear what they said is now board policy or a board decision. So that's what it's all about. Maybe we can just look at it and edit it and see what you all think of it at the next meeting.
Great.
Okay?
Excellent. Okay, update on Charter Cable TV renewal license.
Okay, quick update. I just haven't talked about this for a couple of meetings. We're now at the point where our KP lawyer is discussing things directly with Charter. It's out of our realm. We don't know the finer points of this. There's about seven issues. And Bill Hewig was to have the first discussion with Charter this week. I'm waiting to hear how that goes. I'm hoping this is going to get done. As soon as Bill finishes with Charter, then he will look at CTSB, because we do have an access agreement with them. I'm hoping, again, this will be wrapped up by the end of the month, and we'll have a contract to bring to you. But I just wanted to let you know this hasn't fallen off a cliff.
Excellent. Any questions?
No, thanks.
Okay. All right, moving to discussion, possible action regarding mobile food vendor applicants, Cousins, Maine Lobster, and Pig Pizza, mobile pizza.
That would be pizza.
Pizza, mobile pizza. A little bit of a tongue twister there, play on words.
Could we take up the lobsters first?
We can.
Only if we get to sample them.
I think this is one of the best applications I have seen. We just started this, but across the board in terms of applications, this to me is a wonderful application, and I thank the person who submitted it. It looks to me that like everything is included. It's all spelled out. It's done well.
They're a very professional operation, traveling to many different communities. I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure they have experience
Well, do you
doing
know how
this.
often we don't see an application like this?
Yeah, well, you know,
So I would make a motion that we authorize this mobile food vendor license and the one-day event for, at the Big Elm for 2/11/24.
I'll second that.
Pending Board of Health approval?
Yeah.
Yes, of course, thank you.
Excellent. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Now pizza's pizza.
I think this is incomplete. I see no permission from Big Elm. I don't see a menu that has prices. I see no insurance. I see no diagram of the placement at the Big Elm, and I see no information on the hand washing station. This gentleman is not requesting anything until March. I think he needs to go back and do his work. So I would not vote to, I would vote to deny this at the present time.
I would send it back to him and ask him to complete the necessary
Just
items.
asking for what's missing?
Yeah, just ask him for what's missing.
And Rhonda, if you want, or Jill, if you want, I can just give you my top sheet.
How would you feel about a motion to approve subject to the missing items coming in?
You could do that.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the request from Peter Harris of Pizza Mobile Pizza for the dates he has requested, March 16th, April 20th, May 18th, June 22, July 13th, August 17th, September 14th, and someday in October, subject to the missing items and Board of Health approval.
And subject to Board of Health. Okay, Board of Health, you said. Who's going to do that? Rhonda going to check that?
Yep.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you're on duty. Now you're on duty.
So, update at Sheffield Tri-Town Connector van service.
I just wanted to, again, remind everyone that we do have this Tri-Town Connector transportation service in Sheffield. Rhonda, I think we've got this on our web.
We did.
So, this is the whole schedule, and you can get yourself to the Great Barrington Senior Center and then get to almost everywhere. And they also are doing on-demand stops depending on availability of driver and the van at Dewey Court, Plastilite, Mount Ever Regional School, Sheffield Library, Appalachian Trail at Route 7, Becketty's Berkshire School, Ashley Falls Post Office, there's some limited hours on this, Sheffield Plastics. I mean, it's really an incredible opportunity for $2 a ride to be open to both seniors who maybe want to go a little further than what the van at the senior center offers, and or do not qualify for senior center van service. So those two really complement each other. So I hope people will take a look at our website, and it's posted around town, and begin to use the service. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Renee. Okay, board member items.
I don't have a thing, Robert.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, well, we haven't gone back
What
to
do we
that.
want to do with this?
oh, that's correct. I guess I forgot about that. I would say open the hearing and finish it. I mean, it's a fairly simple, straightforward pole installation.
I'll make a motion, we open the hearing.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
So it appears to be a pole on Lime Kiln Road beginning at a point approximately 831 feet westerly to the center line of the intersection of Main Street, Route 7, installing a pole number 6-1 width
Yeah, it's right next to the railroad track.
34.5.
Exactly, on the north side of the road, just over the railroad tracks, headed towards the salvage yard.
I wish they had told us what they're doing this for, like start doing service or what, but I don't find they ask for things that they don't want to need to do.
Yeah, they don't want to spend money if they don't have to.
So
Yep.
I don't have any questions on this.
Yeah, neither do I.
So I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Do we want to see if there's anybody from the public that has any comments on it first?
Yeah, of course.
Anybody here that is interested in this pole?
Then I'll second Renee's motion to close the hearing.
All those in favor? Aye.
So I would
Okay.
make a motion that we grant this petition for pole and wire location as submitted by National Grid.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now.
I still don't have anything.
Still don't have anything?
Not a thing.
Okay,
Nope.
well, I thought there was a little bit of time lapse there.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Nothing's
Renee?
come up.
Well, I have two things. One, I think we all know by now that our beloved Representative Smitty is not going to run for reelection. And I didn't know if the board wanted to each of us send our own letter, or whether we wanted to do a board letter of appreciation.
I think a board letter would be fine.
Yep.
Okay. Is anybody volunteering to draft that, or
Not this time of year. I'm drafting nothing but tax returns right now.
should I try and?
I would be
Volunteer
appreciative of that.
to do that.
And so would Smitty and the town.
Well, no, Rhonda's just back, and I hate to have something like a thank you letter. So that was one. The other thing is, I don't know that we ever, and again, we may feel like we don't need to do this, but we never, I think, sent a letter of appreciation and thanks for the sidewalks on Route 7. And we have such a nice relationship with Mass DOT that even though it's a little bit late, I would, and I'll volunteer to write that for Rhonda's review.
Have the drainage issues been cleared up?
Have what?
The drainage
I
issues.
think that's
Oh,
supposed to
same
be
day.
was it
We
done already?
only had one drainage
Okay, I'm just
issue.
checking.
The same day.
I
Okay.
thought it was gonna have to wait till spring.
No, they were on that. It was
Excellent.
astronomically fast.
Okay, then I don't have a problem with the thank you note.
No.
Okay. Oh,
Are you sure there's no work to take place up there in this?
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
Are you sure there's no work that's gonna take place up there in the
there's no
spring?
crosswalk yet.
Well, we still have to put they still have to put the crosswalk.
So why don't we wait until it's fully finished? I mean,
But it's up to you. I thought that they had to do more work on the sidewalks themselves at the place where it was pooling, but I could be wrong too, Renee. I'd have to look it up.
Okay, we'll wait. I just, I've already gotten requests for sidewalks past Route Lane, and so
yeah, that's fine.
we'll wait. Thank you. That's it.
All right. Town administrator items. Nothing.
Anything, thanks.
Public comment. Anybody? Oh, sorry.
Not comment, question.
Question, yeah.
Just clarification, actually. Sari Hoy, 60 Main. When you were talking about number 10, were you, the discussion, the policy for written, electronic, verbal, blah, blah, with commissions and committees?
I can hardly hear you.
Yeah, I'm not hearing her either.
Can you?
Yeah, you have to speak up. That mic goes to
Okay.
CTSB. You gotta-
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. The number 10, I was just trying to clarify, were you talking specifically about the public communicating with members?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Motion to.
Oh,
motion.
hold on.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Rick.
That's okay.
See you.
I don't have much to say. I just wanted to thank the select board for forwarding on the CPA tax to voters, which, as someone both who was on the housing production plan committee and as someone who would like to contribute the service of writing grants for the town in future years, it is nice to know that that might be, if voters approve it, a possibility for garnering other grant funds. So gratitude for that, and also for the select board's work on the setbacks issue, which I think will be a productive point of work for the planning board to pick up.
Thank you for thanking us.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Are we begging for thanks at this moment?
Barbara?
I'm Barb Reeves, 57 Berkshire School Road. Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll thank you for thanking us.
There you go. Anyone else?
So with that,
So I'll make a motion that we adjourn our public session and go into executive session, of which our work there could potentially be detrimental to the negotiation and position of our body.
second,
Roll call vote.
Nadine Hover, aye.
Renee Wood, aye.
Bob Kilmer, aye. Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.